Okay, this video is going to show you a couple of ways you can use the Casio FX-CG50 or Order CG20, Order CG10, and use it to solve distance, speed, time questions from IGCSE exam papers using certain key features for conversion of time, e.g. converting hours, minutes and seconds to hours and converting hours to hours, minutes and seconds. Or just using the hours, minutes, seconds feature to make things a lot easier and save yourself a lot of work. So here is a question, and it says the Jinghu high-speed railway from Beijing to Shanghai is 18 kilometers long. A train travels at an average speed of 252 kilometers per hour. This train leaves Beijing at 12:49. The local time in Beijing is the same as the local time in Shanghai. Find the time correct to the nearest minute that this time arrives in Shanghai. So looking at this, you can see it's a distance, speed, time question. So you should really know that this is the triangle, distance, speed, and time. You're trying to find time, so if you cover over time, time is distance over speed. We're going to have to do distance divided by speed. E.g., you're going to have to do the distance, 1318, divided by 252. So that's going to be the first thing that we do. So 1318 divided by 252. Now that gives us a time of 5.23 hours. That's decimal hours. Now, if you only want to go to the answer, you can literally just add that to 12 hours or 49 minutes and it will get you there. I would probably advise you, given that this is a 4-mark exam question, I would advise you to convert that and write it down. So if we convert that to hours, minutes and seconds, so we go option, angle, and this degrees, minutes and seconds, which means hours, minutes and seconds, execute. That tells us that it takes 5 hours, 13 minutes and 48.57 seconds to get from Beijing to Shanghai on this high-speed train line. And I would write that down at that point. Now all we have to do is work out, well, if it left Beijing at 12:49, when will it arrive in Shanghai? So the next calculation is going to be to add the time that it takes to the time when it left. So we're going to add this to 12:49. So I'm going to add 12 hours and 49 minutes, and I'm just going to add that on to this, and I'm just going to use the ANS button, which is just down here. So shift ANS, and it's added them up, and again it's given me a decimal time, which I don't want. I want it to be in hours, minutes and seconds. Well, I probably don't need seconds if you look at the question, but we'll deal with that in a minute. So I'm going to convert that to hours, minutes and seconds. So that tells me 18:02 and 48.57 seconds. So I would again consider writing that whole thing down, and then it wants the time correct to the nearest minute that the train arrives in Shanghai. So that would be 18:03. So what I would advise you to write down would be something like this. So time equals distance over speed, show the division, write the long number down. Probably won't get any marks for that, although you might. You definitely would get some marks for recognizing that that's 5 hours and 13 minutes and 48.57 seconds. This addition, it's debatable whether you'd get any marks for that. Certainly for seeing this, the 18:02, 48.57, definitely worth some marks. In this 18:03 is the final piece. Right, another example. Javier starts a journey at 22:50. It's not actually in use for this part of the question. For the first part of the journey, he drives for 2 hours and 45 minutes at 70 kilometers an hour. Find the distance. So again, distance, speed, time question. Probably going to need the triangle. D's at the top. We want to find the distance that you travel, cover over the D. So distance equals speed times time. So we need to do the speed, 70 kilometers an hour, times the time, 2 hours and 45 minutes. And this is where the calculator is really, really handy, because you can just go straight in here and you can just do 70 times 2 hours and 45 minutes. Now that will get us straight to the answer, and it tells us he travels 192.5 kilometers. Now, given that this was for 3 marks, it might be advisable to do a little conversion first. Now, 2 hours and 45 minutes, to be fair, it's non-calculator possible anyway, because, well, 45 minutes is 3/4 of an hour. It's 2.75 hours. But if you're not comfortable with that, or if you don't want to take the time to do it, 2 hours and 45 minutes equals 2.75 hours, and then you can times that by 70 and you'll still get to the same place. So as far as working out goes, I would suggest something like this would probably be okay, as long as it's accompanied with the right answer. Or if you can see the number 2.75, that shows understanding, and then you multiply it by 70, and you definitely need to see this 192.5, or I guess you could write 193 kilometers, 3 significant figures.